Sandy with Sandy's Crafty Creations, and this is the tutorial for my Gatefold mini album. I've already started on it, but I'm going to show you this side and show you how to make the cover. What you do need is chipboard. So the back piece measures 6 1/4 tall by 6 3/4 wide, so it's a little bit wider than the height. And then you need 2 pieces that are 6 1/4 tall by 3 inches wide. This is the side spines. And then you need 4 pieces of Tyvek material, 6 1/4 tall by 2 inches wide each. And then we need also 2 more pieces of chipboard for the front top doors that are, I'm starting out with 3 1/2 wide. I think that's the correct measurement. If not, I will correct that. And 6 1/4 tall. So I'm going to set those aside. So I've already put this piece together. And what I have done is I took 3/8 inch score tape and applied it to each side of this chipboard, the 3 inch wide piece of chipboard. Score tape on each side along the edge, the length of it. And then peel this off and take your Tyvek and just attach it right along the glued part, top to bottom. That, and the other side too. This reinforces our spine section, our sides of the album that open back and forth. So do that right there, burnish that on there. So we have 2 sets done, like this. And then we need to put spacers, so I'm going to use the 1/4 inch tape and put a spacing guide onto the Tyvek, show them in the camera zoom, up against your chipboard. So it sticks down to the Tyvek, up against the chipboard, on both sides, on both wings of the Tyvek. There. And we'll do this to both pieces. And we're going to leave that backing stuck on there for now because it is a placement guide. And we'll do it on this one also the same way. Onto the wings, onto the Tyvek material, up against the chipboard. On both sides, on both wings. Okay, burnish that down. Now these are ready. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to attach the back. So onto your Tyvek, put score tape on the remaining wing part of your Tyvek. And you're going to need a piece right up against that placement piece of Tyvek. Of score tape, sorry, because that's where you want it to stick. I'm going to go ahead and put 3. So that's 3 solid 3/8 across there. And the other side as well. Right up against the placement guide tape, 1/4 inch. And I'm using 3/8 inch right along the edge of the outer edge. And one in the center. And if you have any that sticks out over the edge, take your scissors and just trim that off right there. Okay. I'm going to pause this for a minute, turn my music down just a little bit. I turned it down a little bit. I do like to work with music. It, oddly enough, helps me to think better. But if it's too loud, y'all might not be able to hear me really well. So we're going to do the same thing on the second piece. Piece of score tape right up against the spacer, 1/4 inch spacer tape. One on the edge. And one in the center. And repeat for the other side. Okay, so we have them both done. Let me get my bone folder. I'm going to burnish those. Makes them easier to peel off, the tape backing to peel off. And so you have two that look like this. So the score tape is just on the wings part. So we're going to attach the back. Make sure to turn the right direction where it's the same here. Leave the tape backing on your 1/4 inch piece of tape and pull the others off. One side only, please. Go. Make sure that's the right direction. And you butt this up against the tape. That leaves you a 1/4 inch space there. And we're going to attach the wings to the sides to the other side. Same thing, just peel this off and leave the 1/4 inch tape backing on. Butt this up to the tape, line them up. There we go. So that's the back, that's the sides. Now we're going to put the door pieces on. So again, leave the 1/4 inch tape there, backing on that. Peel the other 3 off. If you use the 3/8 inch, you would have 3. Make sure the direction's the right way, and butt this up. And then the other side. Turn those over and burnish with the tape stuck down. And clean up. Okay, this is the inside. The outside of the album, I have 2 8.5 by 11 pieces of black cardstock. There's a little bit of room here. And we'll piece these together. So I'm going to slide this down so you can see a little bit more here. So the lengthways, you lay them down lengthways across, and double check this to make sure we're going to have enough around all the edges. So that should work out good. So you take these, butt them up together, and we're going to seam them with score tape all the way across the width. So just take a piece like that. Move my tear ruler there. This is a perfect trim ruler. I like to use it to help tear my score tape. Okay, so we've got that. We're going to turn this piece with the white tie back up, and we're going to apply score tape to all 4 edges. Across the top and on both ends. so you can see it. So I'm putting this right here on the end, just on the chipboard. We make sure we want this to stick, so I'm going to put it on each side of the fold lines. So you've got the fold line here, the 1/4 inch spacer, so put one on each side. And over here, so you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections of this book, and so we're putting tape on each side of each 1/4 inch spacer. So we're on the back side right now. On the chipboard piece right now, we should have all the edges done, and 2, 2, 2, 2 on here. Now I also want some here in the middle, so I'm going to put just 2 on the small sections. And let's put 4 in this wide section here. I'm going to add one more to this section here. It didn't space it quite right. There we go. This is to hold this down onto our cardstock wrap, and we want it to be nice and smooth. So let's burnish each of these to make sure they stick down good. Now you're going to take a few minutes to just peel off all this backing, so I'm going to do that off camera. So peel it all off, and then I'll be back. I have all the tape backing off this cover. Go ahead and remove the tape backing off the cardstock where you seamed it together. And then turn your cover over, sticky side down, and center it top to bottom and side to side the best you can over to the cardstock, just like that. Now then, we're going to wrap this by taking our score tape again and placing it along the top edge, the bottom edge, and along the side edge. Now you're putting the tape just on the paper, on the cardstock part, not your chipboard cover. Burnish those. Okay, now we're going to miter. So you're going to want about a 1/4 inch from the tip of each corner. You don't want it too close, you don't want it too big. So I start with 1/4 inch and just cut that corner off. You can measure with a ruler if you're more comfortable with that. And just clip those off. And so this is what you have. Okay. And now we're going to train this cardstock by lifting our cover and folding the chipboard into the cardstock so that you have a fold line. Some people also score. I find this way just as easy. So we have that at each end. Now then, we're going to start with the 2 long sides first. So peel your tape backing off on one side. And go ahead and peel out these spacers in between here. Get those out of the way, just the tape backing off the spacers. Okay. Now then, take one of the long sides and fold it down, smoothing it out. Take your bone folder and kind of go along the edge and then burnish it down. I'm going to lift this up just a little bit here to get it folded better. Get me a better fold. Okay, and the other side. And burnish that. Now the next step is where this line sticks out over that, I want you to take the tip of your bone folder or your fingernail and really press down hard on that up against this edge. This is to help miter the corners to make them look better. Then fold and see how it looks, and if it's too wide, trim just a little more off that angle. It's too wide if you see too much paper sticking out. So this one's just still a little too wide for my liking. And we're going to trim that off right here. Okay. Then pull the tape backing off when it looks the way you want it. And just press this down on the sides. Burnish it really good. And that makes a nice mitered corner. We'll do the other side as well. I'm going to burnish this down, the excess down. You can see here I probably got too much right here. And then pull the backing off and go ahead and burnish it down. Okay, so now it's wrapped, but before we do anything, we need to gently burnish in the folds, this 1/4 inch spaces here. That's going to help this album to fold. And we have the 1/4 inch space so that the paper is less likely to tear. So burnish this, lift it up gently. Let it get used to being folded there. Other side. And that is the cover, and it will all start to come together better once our pages are put in. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cover Normally I like to use my pattern paper when I know what I'm going to be using, but for this we're going to have to go ahead and do the black. So let me get that ready, and then I'll show you how to do that. Cover these sections in here. 4 pieces of cardstock that's 6 1/4, the height of the album cover, by 1 3/4 wide, and this is what's going to cover these sections in here. So take your score tape again, and I'm using the 3/8, and I'm going to apply tape to each edge. On the perimeter of these, and then a little piece across the bottom on each end, like this. Now I'm not going to put anything in between because I want to kind of leave this free. We've already got the sticky there, so we don't want double stickiness there. So just go ahead and take the tape backing off, and we're going to do all 4 the same way. I'm just showing you one. And again, you will do all 4 the same, and position this over, center it top to bottom, centered side to side the best you can. It doesn't have to be totally accurate. Just place that over there. And then you're going to, once that's stuck down, you're going to take your bone folder and burnish once again. And to see your line, just gently lift up and then burnish. Get that down in there and bring it up. Now when you're making one, we do this in class because we do the blank black basic album. If you want to do this with pattern paper, you certainly can do that instead of using black. So we do that this way, bring it up. Alright, so go ahead and do all 4, the other 3 remaining ones the exactly same way. I've done all 4 of mine. Make sure you burnish in the fold line so that it gets a good crease so that it folds. Our next step is to start adding our pages, and we add in this side here, and with this size of spines, the 3" here on each side, we're going to actually have 8. Normally I do 6 pages, but we're going to have 2 bonus ones, so we're going to have 8. And so I'm going to go cut those and then show you how to score them and get them prepped for inserting into this cover. Be back.